So now we are beginning the fourth canto, the book, The Quest, 99.1. Last time we saw how the mantra was received by the soul of Savitri and how suddenly a kind of a transformation came into her. And then the poet goes on to describe that Savitri is going to follow the command, the Adesh she has received. And early in the morning, well before the sunrise, she is walking out of the palace, riding out of the palace, riding in her carven car, in the golden chariot. Early morning. The last line tells us that thing. In fact, last two sentences. When the pale dawn slipped through night's shadowy guard, vainly the newborn light desired her face. Early morning, she was not there in the palace. The palace woke to its own emptiness. The sovereign of his daily joys was far. She has already gone away early morning itself. Maybe she has started at 4 o'clock or so, or 4:30 or 5, something like that. She has gone out, see. The sovereign of his daily joys was far. Her moonbeam feet tinged not the lucent floors. The beauty and divinity were gone. Delight had fled to search the spacious world. What poetry, you see. The delight has fled to search the spacious world. The beauty and divinity were gone from the palace. See. Now, as I said, this must have happened early morning, well before the sunrise. And here we have got a line here. Her moonbeam feet tinged not the lucent floors. Lucent floors of the palace hall. They were not there at all. Now, this lucent floors, we have later on the description of this lucent floor as laid with precious stones, lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli. So that is the floor on which Savitri would walk. And now she has gone out in the chariot in search of her life's partner. Delight had fled to reach the spacious world. Spacious, she was all the while in a small place, in the palace basically, and perhaps beyond that, she did not know the whole wide world. Nor was there in those days World Wide Web to see on the screen the World Wide World. But now the significance here is had fled to search the spacious world. Obviously, the search is for her life's partner, whom she must meet in the course of her journey somewhere or the other. Spacious also would mean here in the context that she is not going to find him immediately. She may have to go from place to place to place. he must be a sort of a very rare being, not in the vicinity of the palace around there, you see. Therefore, the spacious. And the very first line in the next canto says, the world was opened before Savitri. Again, the spacious world, the world ways, they corroborate with each other. The continuity of the description is there in that sense, you see. World ways, again, it is charged with multiple connotations. The kind of life which Savitri was living in the palace was a particular type of life. But human life has many other aspects which Savitri might not have experienced while she is living as a princess in the palace. As a princess, people will be crowding around her, will be praising her, will try to do things which are acceptable to her. I mean, that is the kind of atmosphere in which she would have grown, although she is also a culturally rich lady, girl. We have seen already the kind of education she had acquired during her growing ages. So, but that is still a particular type of life. The other aspects of life, the ups and downs, the pain and suffering and joy and happiness, all these things. Again, of course, there are the birds, trees, mountains, rivers, nature, sceneries, palaces, and in the towns, marts, noises, all those things are there. So she has not really seen the various aspects of life. Apart from that, of course, the world ways would suggest to some extent not only the good things of life, but also the calamitous things of life. Savitri has to meet pain, has to experience the anguish of this world, and it is only then she can offer something redeeming to this world, not until then. So the world ways has that whole comprehensiveness in that one single phrase, you see, multiplicity of life. Now, before we take up the description, let me describe the kind of narrative we have in the original story of Mahabharata, Vyasa Savitri. At this particular point, how the story is narrated by Vyasa in the Mahabharata, this is what we have got. The princess, Ashwapati was offering worships and prayers to the divine goddess, and she was pleased with it, and she offers him a boon of a radiant daughter, and she comes as his daughter, and of course she is named Savitri. So from childhood, then soon she becomes a girl of marriageable age, and therefore the princess grew like the goddess Fortune. You can see Fortune herself incarnate, fair and beautiful. Then, in course of time, she entered into youthful maidenhood. With large hips and a slender waist, graceful as she was, like a golden statue, people beholding her believed that some heavenly damsel had descended amidst them. They had no idea. So she was so beautiful, so charming, so attractive, as if some goddess has taken human birth here, which is of course a fact also. Now, heavenly damsel, Deva Kanya, that is what Vyasa says. Deva Kanya, Kanya means daughter, Deva, God. Heavenly damsel, her eyes were like full-blown lotuses, and she seemed in her beauty to be flaming with splendor. Indeed, warded off by that splendor, by that beauty, that fiery brilliance, no one approached her asking for her hand. Once, on a festive ceremonial day, she fasted and then took a holy bath from over her head and thereafter went to worship the god. On the banks of the river, there is a temple shrine, and she offers worship to God with chanting of the hymns of benediction by the wise ones, by the priests. She offered ritual oblations to Agni, the mystic fire. Then, accepting the remains of offerings as prasad for the great-souled one, well pleased she, who looked graceful like goddess Lakshmi herself, went to her father. She goes to the river bank, offers worship there, takes prasad and flowers, and comes back to the palace, and she wants to share or give it, offer it to her father. First, giving her prasad to her father, she touched his feet in obeisance. Then, that beautiful maid stood with her hands folded close by the side of the king. See, that is the traditional respect for the elders, for the you can say the Indian society. Seeing his daughter grown up in full youth and heavenly and effulgent in form, the king was very much distressed that none had yet come for her as a suitor. Obviously, that is the worry the father will have, that nobody is coming forward, you see, as a suitor, you see. Well, this is the Sanskrit text. I will skip that. Then the king, Ashwapati, speaks to his daughter, "O virgin." See, this is what we are singing just now. The mantra sings in the yoga's ear. So this is what is here described, so to say. O virgin, the time that you should be given in marriage has arrived. But no one has approached me so far asking for your hand. Hence, you should yourself make the choice of a husband, one endowed with qualities befitting you. Tell me then of him whom you would choose, and after giving due consideration to it, I shall make the marriage proposal. Choose him whom you will acceptably desire. What I have heard from the twice born, that is the learned sages of the society, from the twice born, what I have heard from the twice born, well versed, reciting the sacred scriptures, of that I am speaking to you. You should also hearken to these words, O good, auspicious Shubham. She is Shubham, auspicious Savitri. One who does not give his daughter in marriage when of right age, such a father is to be reproached. Is to be reproached. A husband who does not have relation with his wife in the period favorable for conception becomes blameworthy. The son who does not take care of his widowed mother should also be considered censurable. Well, this is the social custom of the time. There is a certain foundation. Listen to what I have said and make speed abroad in search of a husband. Do such this deed that by the gods I may not be. Do such this deed that by the gods I may not be put to blame, that I have not given my daughter in marriage the gods will come and blame me for that. And then, having thus spoken, this is what Ashwapati tells to his daughter Savitri. And then what happened? Having thus spoken to his daughter, he then commanded his elderly ministers to make necessary preparations for the journey and to proceed forthwith along with her. So he tells his minister, senior minister, plus a small army to guard her on the way and all that, and tells them to go in search, Savitri, follow Savitri in search of her husband. Preparations for the journey and to proceed forthwith along with her. Blushing somewhat, the high-minded daughter bowed at her father's feet and without a further thought, taking his words as an order, set out at once. Now, this particular sentence, we have got a full canto in Savitri here, you see, for this, you see. Canto 3, you see. Riding her golden chariot and accompanied by the elderly counselors, she travelled to several lovely woods of penance of the royal sages from place to place, from grove to grove, she is travelling. Thus, O Yudhishthira, this story is narrated by Rishi Markandeya to Yudhishthira, and therefore, O Yudhishthira, they are offering her respects to the venerable aged person. As Savitri goes from place to place, she offers respects to the elderly person. By touching their feet, from forest to forest, she went journeying along, thus giving away great wealth in all the places of pilgrimage. Did the princess visit several distant lands and kingdoms inhabited by the most excellent wise persons. She travels on and on. So she's going from place to place in the forest, in the lonely places, traveling in a golden chariot. Well, this is not exactly the Indian scene, but we'll have to provide some proper pictures, some proper illustrations for the whole thing, you see. Through forests to thick lands, she's traveling, going from place to place constantly, you see. Through the penance groves. Well, this is the region through which Savitri might have travelled. You can see somewhere here, there is Madra. On the those 5 rivers, you see Madra, can make out Madra there? Yeah, on the Google map is Madra. And then those are the Sindh, that is Sindhu river is there, and the 5 tributaries of Sindhu are there. And then Kuru, Desh, Panchal, Kosa. See, it goes all the way up to UP, to the eastern side, on the western side, almost to Afghanistan, in those days, Kamboj, and that place. Down below is the Vindhya ranges of mountains. So this whole place, whole belt from between the Vindhyas and the Himalayas is what is called the Aryavarta. Aryavarta. So it is through this region Savitri must have been travelling week after week, month after month, starting from Madra and then going to different places. Now, where Shalva is, we don't know. Google does not show that. But our Shalva woods, it shows on the Google map, you see. So, modern names? No, these are not modern names. These are the ancient names. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. These 5 rivers, Punjab means 5. Punjab, 5 rivers. Satluj, Jhelum, those rivers are there, you see. Those are the ancient names of those rivers, you see. And then, of course, they join Sindhu and then go to the Arabian Sea, Karachi, near there. See. So she was going from place to place, constantly moving in a caravan car, the chariot. That is what we'll say here. So this is the description we have got of Savitri going from place to place. The world ways opened before Savitri. The whole Aryavatra has now is there now for her to travel. At first, a strangeness of new, brilliant scenes peopled her mind and kept her body's gaze. Obviously, this is new to her. Therefore, at first, a strangeness of new, brilliant scenes. She has not traveled that far to different places like that. But as she moved across the changing earth from place to place, as she moved across from place to place, a deeper consciousness welled up in her. Now, this is Shravendu. See, when Savitri is now moving from place to place through various kingdoms, through various parts of the country, she is of course seeing all of them on the physical plane, but something different happens to her. A deeper consciousness welled up in her. It is that which is now emerging out of her soul, the deeper consciousness. Now, this would not have happened, the deeper consciousness would not have happened had she remained only in the palace. That is important also, had she remained only in the palace. Obviously now, as she is moving from place to place, a citizen of many scenes and climes, each soil and country it has made its home. So Savitri's consciousness is identifying itself to every aspect of nature, of life, of human conduct and behavior and ways of doing things. A citizen of many saints and climes, each soil and country it has made its home. It took all clans and peoples for her own, till the whole destiny of mankind was hers. So that is the deeper consciousness which has suddenly awakened in Savitri, that the whole human race is now a part of her consciousness. These unfamiliar spaces on her way were known and neighbors to a sense within. That's the beauty of Savitri. She has some knowledge of it within her soul, of all those types of things here seen, were known and neighbors to a sense within. Landscapes recurred like lost, forgotten fields. They were always there in her. And when she is going from place to place, those landscapes, she is sort of remembering. She is recollecting as if she had moved through those processes earlier also. Landscapes recurred like lost, forgotten fields. So, it is the deep psychic memory of Savitri which is recalling all these events and all these scenes. Cities and rivers and plains, her vision claimed. Like slow recurring memories in front. The stars at night were her past brilliant friends. So while Savitri is going from place to place, day after day after night, on and on, day she is traveling, in the night she is going to go to some place and take rest and again start the journey next day morning like that. day after day. The stars at night were her past brilliant friends. When she sees the stars in the sky, well, she recollects them that look, we have been together in earlier life also. The winds murmur to her of ancient things, and she met nameless comrades loved by her one. So she had the recollection of all these things, people, tracks, ancient things. She remembers ancient things. So this is something which has been happening earlier also in her earlier human births. Like slow recurring memories and fun. The stars at night were her past brilliant friend. The winds murmur to her of ancient things, and she met nameless comrades loved by her once. All was a part of old forgotten selves because Savitri has taken a human birth. There is a human veil around her consciousness. But now, the moment she starts seeing this thing, interacting this thing on the physical level, that memory awakens in her soul. Vaguely, or with a flash of sudden, vaguely, or with a flash of sudden hand, her eyes record a line of bygone power. Even her motion's purpose was not new. She is traveling, she is sort of repeating what she had done in her earlier attempts, in her earlier lives, in search of her life's partner. Traveler to a prefigured high event, prefigured. You see, this is already fixed. It has to happen that way. This is the commentary of the poet. Savitri's soul is kind of awakening itself to that. She is saying to her remembering witness soul to trace again a journey often made. A journey often made. She is tracing once more that journey. Will this time the journey be successful? She has been doing it again and again since the beginning of this earthly creation. She has been making this attempt. Of that, she has a recollection. She has taken up the journey again now. Will this time the journey be successful? What is the guarantee that Savitri will meet the one whom she wants to meet? She must have, of course, met him earlier also, in her past lives also. But will that meeting this time be successful? The guarantee of that, yes, what do you say? Yes, of course, that's, the way the question means it is a rhetorical question. It means that it is yes, it is going to be successful. The rhetorical question means that it is going to be successful. Why it's going to be successful this time? That is more important. Earlier, she has been undertaking the journey to trace again a journey often made. See, this is the occult yogic aspect of Savitri, of Sri Aurobindo's epic Savitri, which is very significant, which is very important to see. Why this time the journey might be successful? Because this time Ashwapati's Yoga Tapasya has established that power. His Yoga Tapasya has ripened up, so to say, if you like to say, to the extent that, yes, when she comes here, this time it will be successful. And there is no doubt about it this time. It is entirely because of the significant Yoga Tapasya Ashwapati has done during this incarnation of his. You see. to trace again a journey often met. A guidance turned, turned, revolving wheels. And in the eager body of the speed, the dim-masked hooded goddess rode to move, assigned to man immutably from his birth. Receivers of the inner and outer law, at once the agents of his spirit's will and witnesses and executors of his fate. All these gods have awakened now. That is the beauty of it. That is the power of the present journey. A guidance turned the dumb revolving wheels of time. The moments, the cyclic moments of time. And of course, the revolving wheels of Savitri's chariot. She is going from place to place, you see. And in the eager body of their speed, of those wheels, the dim-masked hooded goddess rode, who move assigned to man immutably from his birth. Those gods are assigned to man. Now they have kind of awakened and they will take care of this man now. Assigned to man immutably from his birth, they have awakened now because of these speeding wheels of time. Receivers of the inner and outer law, receivers, the gods. At once, the agents of his spirit's will. They are the agents of his man's spirit's will and witnesses and executors of his fate. These gods have come into operation. It means the moment Savitri steps out of the palace, the gods follow her as she moves. They have to move along with her, inexorably faithful to their task. They cannot but do what they had to do, inexorably. They hold his nature sequence in their guard. He is, of course, stands for man. Their guard, carrying the unbroken thread all lives has spun. So from life to life, man goes on, but these gods are carrying that thread forward. And now these gods are awakened. Now, of course, here we can say that although he is speaking, the poet is talking in general terms of man's fate. But this is essentially in the context of Savitri. Essentially in the context of Savitri. Because she has taken human birth. And now as she is moving in her human birth here, the gods are awakened and they are also following her behind the chariot. She is riding her chariot and the gods are following her. So inexorably those things had to happen now, you see. Carrying the unbroken thread, all lives spun. Attendance on his destiny's measured walk. Savitri's walk from place to place measured, specific. Measured walk, life after life. She has building up higher and higher grades of spirit's possibilities on this world, on this earth here. That is the measured walk of Savitri. And these gods are the attendants of that task. Leading to joy, he has won, and pains he has called. Even in his casual steps, they intervene. In his casual steps, they intervene. Savitri, it may appear that she is going from place to place, unaware of things, casually, ignorantly, innocently, but they are aware of each and every event and each and every spot, what is going to happen, what should happen, you see. because the gods are there now around her. So Savitri is definitely accompanied by the elderly ministers of the palace of her father's army. But more important than the ministers and the army and the guardians, physical guardians, are these gods. You want to make it a little low? Leading into joys he has won, and pains he has caused. Even in his casual steps, they intervene. Now, obviously, this intervention of the gods is not for someone who is not prepared for that kind of an intervention. It is meant for the prepared soul ready to accept their intervention. It is not for any human being, any small person. I mean, we meet all kinds of things in life. It does not mean that the gods are planning all those things for us. We are totally ignorant of that. When the soul is really ready, then they plan each and every detail of our life and our moments. Savitri is one like that, and therefore it is in that context they intervene and do what has got to be done for Savitri. Even in its casual steps they intervene. Nothing we think or do is void or vain. Well, here we and man, etc., etc. Well, the poet is very sympathetic with us. He's sort of glorifying us, but it is assumed that it is only those who are ready for that sort of a thing. It is understood that, you see. Mother will do everything for us. It doesn't happen that way. She will do when you are ready. She is always there to do it. But then we had to be ready for her to intervene in our activities, in our actions, in our movements. We had to be ready for that. Nothing we think or do is void or vain. Each is an energy loosed and holds its course. This is what the gods do. Well, this is in the context of Savitri and the gods. You see, the shadowy keepers of our deathless past have made our fate the child of our own acts, and from the furrows labored by our will, we reap the fruit of our forgotten deeds. It is the subconscious element in us which plays its own part in our life, in our movement. When we say our, it is to be understood that for the prepared person, you see. The shadowy keepers of our deathless past. See, we are keeping something which is very precious in our life, but that is kept secret from us. Have made our fate the child of our own acts. We have done those acts, and it is that which comes into play, and that becomes our fate. Our fate is worked out by that we see. And from the furrows labored by our will, we plough the land and put the seeds in the furrows there and reap its fruit. The karma, the past karma, it is that which we acquire and which we reap, the merits of our life, of our past life, of our actions, of our deeds. And from the furrows labored by our will, we reap the fruit of our forgotten deeds. We are not aware of it, but then they come into play in our life, always. But sense, unseen, the tree that bore this fruit, and we live in a present born from an unknown past. We have forgotten our past because we don't have contact with our soul. The merit, the good of the past is stored in our soul. So we have no access to that past. If we know our soul, then that becomes known to us. Therefore, it is still the unknown past for us, you see. And we live in a present born from an unknown past. They seem but parts of a mechanic force, as if mechanically, automatically, by the law of karma, they seem to keep on happening, repeating constantly. Yet, are they instruments of a will supreme? These keepers of the past, which are there within us, they are doers of things which have been willed by the Supreme Himself, watched by a still, all-seeing eye above. All these actions are seen from above. The gods are following, yet the past is there and the past can intervene and play its own mischief. But from above, things are observed and seen, and so to say, due precaution is taken at every step for the chosen soul, for the soul which is ready. That is important again and again. A prescient architect of fate and chance, he knows the future. Although for us things might appear as a result of chance, as a result of forces of nature, of the individual soul, of the transcendental will, all combined together. Fate is a combination of all the three: our soul's will, the forces of nature, the cosmic nature, and the transcendent will. When they come together in a certain operation, then depending upon preponderance of one or the other, our fate gets decided this way or that way. Of course, again, let me repeat once more that this is meant for the ready souls, because we are not in contact with our souls. A prescient architect of fate and chance who builds our lives on a foreseen design, the meaning knows and consequence of each step, and watches the inferior stumbling powers. That is the aspect of chance, of fate. The inferior powers intervening and playing mischief in the work. So this is how we have the picture of man who is ready to receive the divine guidance, the divine help, the divine protection also in all the eventuality for the case of the ready soul. And of course, the poet is telling us in a generalized sense. It is universal, but it is here more specific for Savitri. Upon her silent height, she was aware. That is the greatness of Savitri. She remains always on her great heights of silence, silence in which the true knowledge comes. Savitri is stationed always on that peak, on the summit. Upon her silent height, she was aware. She, of course, here stands for Savitri. Of a calm presence throned above her brows. That is the wonderful thing of Savitri. A young girl, a princess who has just walked out of the palace, she is aware of the divine presence above her brows. And it is that presence which will do all these things, which will take care of fate and chance, which will lead her from place to place at the right time to the right place everywhere. It is that divine presence, a calm presence throned above her brow. So she is always being supervised from above by the presence. It's there always. Her own divine counterpart, Savitri, is human Savitri's counterpart, the divine Savitri. That presence, that power is always there behind her. Upon the silent height, she was aware of a calm presence throned above her brows, who saw the goal and chose each fateful curve. So she is riding the chariot, going from place to place. How the chariot is going to move? Each curve, each turn is being observed, is being watched by that presence, who saw the goal and chose each fateful curve. See, that is why, because that presence is there always in the case of Savitri, it is the fully awakened Savitri's picture which is being presented here in Sri Aurobindo's Savitri here. It is that presence which we should take care of every eventuality in the course of her journey. And therefore, Sri Aurobindo does not speak anywhere of the convoy of her father guarding her and going along with her. It is not necessary to mention that, which is what we had in the old story of Mahabharata, which is given, which has its own beautiful dimension. But here it is not necessary to say that there are ministers, elderly ministers, there are soldiers, there is army around her and she is going from place to place. It is not necessary to say that, because a calm presence throned above her brows, and it is that presence which will define each and every turn and curve of her journey. It used the body for its pedestal. The eye that wandered were its searchlight fire. The eye that wandered, Savitri is going from place to place, looking here, looking there. But those eyes are what? His searchfire. It is through her that searchfire is seeing everything. See. The eye that wandered were its searchfires. The hand that held the reins is living tools. She is holding the reins in her hands and driving the chariot. Savitri is seated in her chariot and she is alone. She is driving the chariot in her hands. And she is going now from place to place. And it is the divine eye which is seeing through her eyes every aspect of the landscape which is around here. The hand that held the reins is living tools of that presence. All was the working of an ancient plan, a way prepared by an unerring guide. So Savitri does not need any army to go along with her from place to place. She is going just alone because the guide is there, the road map is there. She doesn't need any further guidance at all, you see. She goes constantly. The hand that held the reins is living tools. Now this is significant. Although physically the picture is Savitri is riding the chariot and holding the reins of the horses in her hand, and she is going from place to place alone, as you would see from here. But on the spiritual level, in the occult sense, it is Savitri who is working out the whole of her life, the occult life, in the human form, human Savitri. She is holding her human elements in her hands and she is going from place to place. And behind that human effort of Savitri is that occult presence behind it and taking care of every aspect of her movement and her actions. All was the working of an ancient plan. Yes, this has been already drawn, that plan, long, long ago, right at the beginning of this earth. When was this plan drawn? Ancient plan, when was it drawn? At the beginning of the earth. At the beginning of the earth itself. Savitri and Satyavan have to meet. That plan is fixed. It has to happen. Because Satyavan is the divine soul in the grip of death. Savitri is the dynamic force who will remove that grip of death. So that is fixed. And the rest is only a question of working out of details. This has to happen. That is fixed, that divine plan. And therefore the guide is there towards that. It has to go in that direction only. See? The hand that held the reins is leaving to all was the working of an ancient plan, a way prepared by an unerring guide. Now, if somebody is there who can draw a picture of this thing, Savitri riding the chariot and going from place to place in the forest, in the lonely places, that will be wonderful. Across, now this is how Savitri is moving. Then, so he has already said that the divine presence is there, the divine guide is there to take care of her in every respect. Across wide noons and glowing afternoons. So, she starts early morning, her journey onward, across wide noon and glowing afternoon. She met with nature and with human forms and listened to the voices of the world. She is meeting people. She is going to the palaces. She is going to the kingdoms. She is going to marketplaces, so to say. She is traveling from place to place constantly. She is meeting human forms. She met with nature and with human form and listened to the voices of the world. That is what the opening line also means. The world way is opened before Savitri. So now the description of that world way opening before Savitri is coming after this long preamble. You see. Across wide noons and glowing afternoon, she met with nature and with human form and listened to the voices of the world, driven from within. She followed a long road, mute in the luminous cavern of her heart, like a bright cloud through the resplendent day. So it's a blue sky and there is a bright cloud and it is drifting the sky. It is in that way, in that brightness, Savitri is moving from place to place, driving her chariot. At first, her path ran far through peopled tracts. So he is describing now each and every aspect of her long journey. Long journey. First, of course, she is going from kingdom to kingdom, from state to state, from palace to palace, from one urban area to the other urban area, so to say, constantly. At first, her path ran through peopled tracts. Admitted to the lion eye of states, she is in different kingdoms. And theatres are the loud act of man, where you quarrel, where you fight, you struggle, you go to the marketplace, make noises. Through all the places, first she is going, at first. Her carven chariot with its fretted wheels, threaded through clamorous marts and sentinel towers, past figured gates and high dream sculptured fronts, and gardens hung in the sapphire of the skies. Small fanes were where one calm image was man's life, and temples hewn as if by exiled gods to imitate their lost eternity. Now, this is a packed description again, with so many images coming here. But before that, the most important thing about Savitri is in the previous sentence. Savitri is going from place to place. There is the divine presence. There is the unerring guide. But most important thing about Savitri is this line, driven from within, she followed a long road. That is the most important thing about Savitri. Yes, all these people are there, the guide is there, the presence is there, but finally what matters in your actual movement is to be driven from within. If only we are driven from within, then every aspect of life, of difficulty, is taken care of. Is taken care of. This is the important thing about Savitri. She is already driven from within. Her psychic being, her soul is alert, and she is prompt to respond to its suggestions, to its hints. That is the driven from within. In fact, that is the real dharma. That is the real religion. That is the real conduct of life. To be driven from within. What is the dharma of an individual? Your dharma, my dharma, his dharma, her dharma. They have to be different. Because each one is driven from within by his soul, which has its own true individuality. The true individuality lies in our soul, not in our ego sense. And when we are driven from within, then we express our true individuality. Not until then, you see. So Savitri here is ready, in fact she has been ready, so to say, all along, to go by the promptings of her soul. Constantly. Driven from within, she followed her long road, and therefore the road does not really appear long. It is a certain road. She is going to meet what she has proposed to achieve in the journey. Now here, her carven chariot with its fretted wheels. So it's a beautiful chariot, a golden chariot. Now by the way, this is also a picture of the kind of cities and capitals of the kingdoms were in the ancient days. This is a picture of the ancient capitals at the time, you see. He says now, past figured gates and high dream-sculptured fronts and gardens hung in the sapphire of the skies. So these are the kind of palaces they had, sapphires of the sky, pillared assembly halls. So the assembly halls are there, pillared, not Doric columns, straight, but ripples, you see. Pillared assembly halls with armored guards, small fanes, small chapels, small temples, small shrines in the distant places, where one calm image was man's life. So in the temple, in the shrine, small image, in the suburban area perhaps, there is a small temple there, and there is the image. And what does that image do? It watches man's life. And temples hewn as if by exiled gods. The gods have created a temple because they have been thrown out of their heaven. They have been sent to earth. And the best thing for them to do is now to make a temple for themselves. To reside there. And therefore, they will make a beautiful temple for themselves with yes, given here, no? Image was by man's life and temples hewn as if by exiled gods to imitate their lost eternity. So that is the nature of the old temples, of old shrines, that it is a copy, an image, a reflection of what the seer has seen in his inner vision of the temple up there. The true temple is there. Is there, definitely. Beautiful, marvelous, bright, with all kind of opulence, brilliance, precious stones, everything is there. Now a copy of that is what you see here on the earth. In fact, we are a copy of a copy. Doubly distanced away from reality. Copy of a copy, you see. The true prototype, the archetype, is up there. You have a beautiful vase up there. So what we make here a vase is a copy of that vase. We have got a chair here. The true chair is up there. So this is a copy of that chair. You see. Same way, man, up there, he is somebody really, some very beautiful, nice person here. We are a copy of that. You see. No? Yeah. To imitate the lost eternity. Now, here he says, at first her path ran through paper tracks, admitted the lion eyes of states, and theatres of the loud act of man, her caravan chariot. This phrase, caravan chariot, appears a number of times in Savitri. In fact, I got a list of how many times it appears. Caravan car. We can see them here. 100.1. Pardon me? Yeah. 100.1. Caravan car. As floats a sunbeam through a shady plain, the golden virgin in her caravan car. She's going from caravan car. Then we have got 104.3. Then down she came from her high caravan car. Savitri, see. Well, it's all right. You can easily find out on your PDF, you see, all these caravan cars. And there are a number of other things also connected with car. You see. Now, car is important. Car is basically not our modern car, you see, in that sense. Any wheeled vehicle, a vehicle with wheels, you see. That is what the car means in the original sense of the word, karar. The original sense of the word car. Shaivan is using in that sense, car, you see. In fact, okay, we'll see that thing later on. Often from gilded dusk to argent dawns, where jewel lamps flickered on frescoed walls. Now this is too poetic. Jewel lamps, stars, frescoed walls, sky, night sky. So, so often from gilded dusk to argent dawn, from the evening till the morning, in the night. This is what he's telling you. And the stone lattice stared at moonlit boughs. She would go and stay in the palace, and the floor will be lit by the moonlight there. Her half conscious of the tardy listening night, dimly she glided between banks of sleep, at rest in the slumbering palaces of kings. So she would go from palace to palace, from place to place, stay as a guest of the kings at different places. She would sleep there. So this is the description of that, how she would move from place to place, you see. Often from gilded dusk to argent dawn, where jewel lamps flickered on frescoed wall, and a stone lattice stared at moonlit boughs, half conscious of the tardy listening night, dimly she glided between banks of sleep. Banks of sleep. She would sleep one night here, another night elsewhere, other night here, from one place to place, as if she's traveling through the stream of the sleep, you see, on the banks of sleep, at rest in the slumbering palaces of kings. Hamlet and village saw the fate van pass. Now from the urban areas, from the capital cities and all that thing, she is going into the suburban areas. Pardon?
We want her to find.
For me?
No, we want Savitri to find him.
How?
How? How she finds
Him?
we want her to find him. That's why we go on.
Yeah, yeah, you have to find this right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but that will take some time. You see, it will take some time. See, it's not going to be easy. She's going to travel almost for 1 year. You see, we have seen that Aryavarta. So she's going to travel from place to place through the capital cities, through the villages, through the forest land, through the hermitages, through the places where the rishis and the munis and the sages, they meditate and do all that. She's going to travel the whole belt, that whole Aryavarta, you see, the land of spiritual tapasya. Aryavarta would stand for the land of spiritual tapasya. It is in that land of spiritual tapasya, she has to find her life's mate. Spiritual tapasya. Aryavarta would technically would mean, I would put it that way, Aryavarta would stand for that, the land of spiritual tapasya, where tapasya has been done by the spiritual aspirants, you see. So it is through that belt she is going from place to place, you see. And somewhere there she has to find him, you see. Because he has already told you. Firstly, he has told you three things. Firstly, she is driven from within. It means that she is bound to succeed. Then, of course, he also tells us there is a presence thrown from above her head, guiding her. There is a presence always, constantly with her. Then, he has also said, while she is driving her chariot from place to place, there is a divine guide, G capital, who is leading her from place to place. So, the entire navigation of her chariot is done by all these three people, basically by the presence. The navigation is done by that presence. And a guide is there to prompt you, go this, that way, you see. And she is able to hear that voice from within and follow it up, you see. So now she is entering into the place of different type, not from marts and cities and loud acts of men, but to villages. Hamlet and village saw the fate van pass. Now the poet is already telling you fate van, see. Savitri is going to meet her fate and she has to see the consequences of that fate. The people are saying, oh, this is Savitri now going. The fate van is passing like that, you see. They are not even aware of it. But the poet is suggesting that way, you see. Fate van. Now, by the way, van is a wagon, basically, in the sense of a wagon. It is a horse-drawn wagon, van, horse-drawn wagon in the technical sense. And therefore, it is that van, she is now horse-drawn chariot, another name for that chariot, you see. Now, in my opinion, unfortunately, in the revised edition, the phrase is, Hamlet and village saw the fate vain pass. W-A-I-N. W-A-I-N, vain, which is nothing but a farm wagon. Vain is a farm wagon. In the revised edition, they put fate vain, W-A-I-N. See, I mean, it doesn't really appeal to me. Hamlet and village saw the fate van pass. And see the rhythm also. Fate vain pass and fate. Apart from the sound content and the meaning content, the whole poetry which is there in this line, that gets lost, you see, totally, you see. That is the contribution of the famous revised edition of Savitri. Unfortunately. Well, homes of life bent to the soil it flows. So he's describing briefly, very quickly, the village life, the huts, the people, how they toil on the face in their houses. Homes of a life bent to the soil it plows. For sustenance of its short and passing days, that is human life in the villages, you see, days, that transient keep their old repeated course, unchanging in the circle of a sky which arcs not above our mortal toil. Well, this is the life of a common man, keeps on repeating. Toil from morning till evening, birth after birth, life after life, it goes on like that. This is sort of a routine life of a person who is not aware of his own possibilities. Away from this thinking creature's burdened hours. Now we are coming to another scene. Thinking creatures burdened hour. To free and griefless spaces, now she turned, not yet perturbed by human joys and fears. Not yet perturbed by human joys and fears. Basically, there is a shift of scene now. First, we had the description of the palaces, the places where she was living as a royal guest in different capital cities. Then she is going to the villages and suburban areas and seeing the toiling life. The world ways opened before Savitri. So these are the world ways opening out to Savitri. Now she has left even the suburban areas. She is going into the forest, into the wilderness, into the loneliness of nature, where there is no thinking creature. No man is there, but nature, pure nature. Away from these thinking creatures' burdened hours to free and griefless spaces, now she turned. So that is also a commentary of lack of freedom and the presence of grief in the life of a thinking creature. See, indirectly, this is a commentary on the life of a thinking creature, that it is not free and it is full of grief. Away from these thinking creatures' burdened hours to free and griefless spaces, now she turned, not yet perturbed by human joys and fears. She is coming into a sort of a midden life of nature, there is a pristine life. Here was the childhood of primeval earth, the purity of nature as in its origin. Here, timeless musings, large and glad and still, man had forborne as yet to fill with cares. Imperial acres of the eternal sower, acres of the sower. He is the farmer, great farmer, and here are lands and lands and lands stretching in front of him, and it is in those lands he is going to sow the seeds of nature's joy everywhere. Imperial acres of the eternal sower, and wind-stirred grasslands winking in the sun. So you have got steppes, you have got beautiful grasslands there, and of course swaying with the wind. Or mid green musing of woods and rough-browed hills. If it is not plains, then you have got hills. Musing woods and rough-browed hills. In the groves, murmurous be air humming wild, or past a long, lapsing voice of silver floods. The streams are there, the rivers are flowing, and their voices are singing the songs of joy. Or past a long, lapsing voice of silver floods, like a swift hope journeying among the dreams. Hasten the chariot of the golden bride. Hasten the chariot of the golden bride. Now into the scenes of nature. Like a, you see, this is a very beautiful thing, very beautiful simile also. Hasten like a swift hope, journeying among the dreams. So you are dreaming, and there is a hope in the dream which is moving from place to place. Like a swift hope, journeying. So in other words, Savitri is riding the chariot, going from the place to place, is not only the dream of nature, but is also a hope. The hope will be fulfilled. That is the suggestion of it. Hope and chariot moving, they are one and the same here. Hope in the chariot is also the fulfillment. See? So the poetic technique, the art, the skill of poetry is absolutely marvelous, you see. The interwoven phrasal, see. Like a swift hope. See, this is a very original simile. That she is moving like a swift hope. She is expecting, yes, this must happen, this must happen, this must happen. Out of the world's immense, unhuman past, there is nobody human there. It is not inhuman, unhuman. This is a coinage of Sri Aurobindo. This word unhuman does not exist in dictionary. But he has purposely used it in the context here. Out of the world's immense, unhuman path, tracked memories and ageless remnants came, domains of life enfeoffed to an antique calm. They become part of a calm, those domains. Listen to the unaccustomed sound of hooves. See, this is a place where no chariot had gone. And now that place is listening to the new sound of the chariot moving to those places. Domains of light enfeoffed. Fief is a kingdom, small attachment, so to say. Enfeoffed, so attached, joined. Listen to the unaccustomed sound of hooves and large, immune, entangled silences absorbed her into emerald secrecy. Although she is moving here, the chariot is rattling, the hooves are making sound on the path, but the whole calm is so deep, it is able to absorb it in its secrecy. It is totally, the sound itself is kind of absorbed in its secrecy here. Absorbed her into emerald secrecy, and slow, hushed wizard nests of fairy bloom, environed with a colored snare, her wheels. So as she is going through the grassland, the flowers, the trees, they are kind of entangled in the wheel. This is sheer poetry, see. It cannot be described. See, I mean, how the lyrical, how enchanting poetry can be. Actually, in one of the letters, Sri Aurobindo says that one of the attempts he has in writing Savitri is to bring in his epic, the Kalidasian and Upanishadic element as far as possible in English. The Kalidasian element, the Upanishadic element in Savitri as far as possible in English. I think he has far exceeded that possibility. He has created a new idiom, a new language, a new mode of expression in English to describe. It is, I would even say, very sweet, very enchanting, very lyrical, which is in fact super Kalidasian. Even Kalidas would not attain to that. Kalidas is romantic, very lyrical, very sweet, very romantic, but basically. But here the lyricism has the power, the content of the psychic spiritual. The psychic spiritual is so intense here that it throws away everything else, you see. So it is in that sense surely super Kalidasian. Not only he has brought the Kalidasian into English poetry as far as possible in English, he has superseded Kalidas, giving to it the aesthetic dimension of psychic spiritual. That is what we have got here. In fact, this whole poetry is like that. The book of love and this quest, they are full of like that, you see. And slow, hush wizard nests of fairy bloom, environed with their colored snare, her wheels. As they are going, all the flowers, trees, etc., bushes, they are getting entangled in the chariot wheels. And therefore they are becoming colored with those flowers. The strong, importunate feet of time, the stubborn feet of time, the importunate feet of time, the pertinacious feet of time, the strong, importunate feet of time fell soft. While she is moving, everything has become those the stubborn feet of time themselves have fallen soft, become soft. Along these lonely ways, his Titan pace forgotten, and his stark and ruleless round. The sweetness of Savitri is such that time has forgotten its harshness, its cruelty. Forgotten and stark and ruinous around the cycles of destroying time, they have fallen silent because of her movement. The inner ear that listens to solitude, this is the beauty of Shivendu's poetry. The sounds of time have fallen silent, but the ear behind the ear, the true ear, who is the true listener of sound, the ear behind the ear, the inner ear that listens to solitude. What does it listen to? Solitude. Solitude has a voice, it speaks, and that voice of the solitude can be heard only by the inner ear. We hear only noises, shrill noises, cacophonies in our life. The inner ear that listens to solitude, leaning, self-wrapped, unboundedly could hear the rhythm, the intenser, wordless thought, the way the thought would move, its rhythm. It is those sounds of the thought that inner ear can hear in the solitude. The rhythm of the intenser, wordless thought that gathers in the silence behind life, and the slow, sweet, inarticulate voice of earth in the great passion of a sun-kissed trance ascended with its yearning undertone. Well, the thoughts, wordless thought, they also make sound, but the inner ear has the faculty of listening to the sounds of thoughts. Afar from the brute noise of clamorous deeds, she has left behind the marketplaces, the human civilization, human creation, and she is now in the bosom of nature. Afar from brute noise of clamorous deeds, the quieted, all-seeking mind could feel at rest from its blind outwardness of will, the unwearied clasp of her mute, patient love, and know for a soul the mother of her forms, the mother of her form, and know for a soul the mother of her form. Now, this is the important thing. It is the soul which knows the true form. Our mind cannot know those true forms. For a soul is the mother of our form. Normally, we create forms to our mental imaginations. We create mental pictures, mental forms. But the true form is created by the soul. Afar from brute noises. That is possible when the mind has become really silent. Afar from the brute noise of clamorous need, the quieted, all-seeking mind could feel at rest from the blind outwardness of will, the unwearied class of her mute, patient to love, and know for a soul the mother of her form. He is really preparing us, the poet. The narrative is preparing us that Savitri is now going into deeper and deeper regions of calm, of spiritual isolation, so to say, from here. This spirit, stumbling in the fields of sense, this creature, bruised in the mortar of the days, bruised in the mortar of the day, could find in her broad spaces of relief. This spirit, we are caught by senses, our mental faculties, our sight, ear, nose, tongue, touch. These are the senses by which we see it. So it is that which is now freed from that. Because now you are in the pure contact of nature. This spirit, stumbling in the fields of sense, this creature, bruised in a mortar of the days, could find in her broad spaces of relief. Her stands for that nature, that surrounding, where Savitri has entered in. That emerald secrecy. Not yet was a world all occupied by care. This is a big commentary. Our world is occupied by care. But here is pure nature, and she has no worries. There are animals, there are birds, there are beasts of prey. They are with a kind of harmony with each other. Not yet was a world all occupied by care. The bosom of our mother kept for us still her austere regions and musing depths. So somebody had kept that thing for us, the bosom of that mother. Her austere regions and her musing depths, her impersonal reaches, lowly and inspired, and the mightinesses of her rapture heart. Somebody has preserved those things for us. Muse lips, she knows the symbol mysteries. All these are symbol mysteries. And guarded for her pure-eyed sacraments. The valley clefts between her breasts of joy, her mountain altars for the fires of the dawn. The mountains are the altars, and there you kindle the fire of the dawn. And nuptial beaches where the ocean couched, and the huge chanting of the prophet woods. All that has been preserved for a certain purpose. Now, this is the description of the meeting of the lovers. And in that context, you have to see valley clefts between her breasts of joy, her mountain altars for the fires of dawn. Fields had she of her solitary mirth. Nature alone, nature, therefore solitary mirth. Plains hushed and happy in the embrace of light, pure sunlight. Alone with the cries of birds and hue of flowers, and wildernesses of wonder lit by her moons, and grey sheer evenings kindling with the stars, and dim movement in the night's infinitude. the whole picture of the day from morning till evening. You see, starts from the morning till late in the evening. Feels a she of her solitary mirth, plains hushed and happy in the embrace of light, daytime, alone with the cry of birds and hue of flowers, and wildernesses of wonder lit by her moons, and grey seer evenings kindling with a star, and dim movement in the night's infinitude. August, exulting in her Maker's eye, that nature. She is august, she is exulting in the eye of her Maker. She felt her nearness to him in earth's breast. Converse still with the light behind the veil, still communed with eternity beyond. Because not yet was a world occupied by care. A few and fit inhabitants she called to share the glad communion of her peace. The breadth, the summit were their natural home. Now he has taken us to the forest land and the type of people who are going to stay there. This is what he is going to describe from this point onward, from 31 till 48. The description of the rishis, of the sages, of the disciples who worked there, who did tapasya, the whole description now starts from this point onward. So this is the nature. This is the place where Savitri has arrived, the land of tapasya. She has arrived there. And therefore in that land, full of nature, full of beauty, full of love, full of joy, full of originality of its innocence. A few, she has called whom? A few and fit inhabitants she called to share the glad communion of her peace. The breadth, the summit were their natural home. There are those few and fit inhabitants, those who are aspiring for spiritual life. It is they who have come here, and it is those places Savitri is going to visit now.